This is try number 1 on my godly person thing. Questions. When and how did you come to know the Lord?
Well,
This is my dad, by the way.
so when I was when I grew up, I didn't really know God, but when I started dating your mother, I actually when her family went to church, and she said we're gonna have a serious relationship, then you need to know God. And I said, oh, I don't know, okay. And then her sister Emily invited me to a church play and she was like the tallest angel. She was like, there's all these little tiny angels, and she was the tallest one for Christmas. And so I went to that and thought it was really great. And then they invited me back to church in the new year, and I went back, and that's where I was saved, is at this church. And what else happened?
So, like, what time, like, what day, not date exactly.
I don't know exactly date, but I would
what
say
year?
In January of 1993, maybe 92.
So close to your birthday.
Yeah, not very far from my birthday. That's right.
Okay.
I think
Second question.
Yep.
What spiritual gift do you have, and how has God helped you develop your gift?
Well, I think I have kind of the gift of, I wouldn't say leadership, but teaching, but no, maybe leadership too. Just out of like not having to say I'm the leader, but actually just going and doing things and
The tech guy.
And, the technology. But early on, I helped your mother at church doing toddler church and children's church, and then eventually it became I felt like it was a calling that God had for me.
Yeah.
And teaching, but also just leading like large group children's ministry stuff, because I think differently, because I wasn't raised in the church. I actually, had brought stuff as I was saved at 23 or something. So I think differently. I don't know all the Bible stories over and over and over again, so it's not not a complete bore thing, because I was sort of learning them myself. So
you know some. What are some?
Well, there's all kinds of them.
This is going to be one question on your own task.
I think one of my favorites is, and actually I feel it's almost like one of the verses that kind of speaks to me, is where Jesus has already been hung on the cross and died and risen, and Peter and James and John are all going out. I think it's like fishing or something, and when they come back, here's Jesus. And he takes Peter aside and he says, Peter, do you love me? And Peter says, of course I love you, Lord. And Jesus says, then feed my lambs. And then a second time, he says, Peter, do you love me? And Peter's like, yes, I love you. And he said, then feed my sheep. And then the third time, which it's not lost on me that he's asked him 3 times, and Peter denied him 3 times when he was crucified. So he asked him 3 times, do you love me? And by the 3rd time, Peter said, Lord, you know me, I love you. And it basically was almost like God was kind of bringing that back around in full circle and saying, hey, Peter, it's okay. You did this, but I love that he first said, feed my lambs. Then he said, feed my sheep. So to me, that always spoke to me like, hey, you should feed my lambs, which are kids. So yeah.
You have 3 girls.
Yes, 3 kids.
And then dogs, and chickens,
right.
Snakes, guinea pigs, all them. Describe a difficult moment in your life and how God has helped you through that tough time.
I would say raising children is not easy, and sometimes that is a difficult thing. And so God has helped me to learn not to take it personal, and to make the most of the time that we have, because soon your kids, your children, whoever you love that's in your family is could be gone or at the next
Or
milestone,
leaving the nest.
leaving the nest or whatever.
Like
So
our
make the best of
sister.
it.
My
Yeah.
sister Lily, she's moving on.
Yeah.
She just got engaged.
What's this hand for?
I don't know.
Okay.
Next one. What advice would you give to a Christian teenager today?
My advice for a Christian teenager is
It could be yourself too, like
Right.
in the past.
okay.
That
Well,
you could be
the
taught.
main thing is that God's word, the Bible, is truth. And when you think about truth, you should go to the Bible first, not what your friends say, not what social media says, not what the news says. Truth comes from the Bible. And so many times now, everywhere you hear this person says this is the truth, this person says this is the truth, and some people just say you own your own truth and there's no true truth, and that's not right. The real truth comes from the Bible. So if it ain't in the Bible, then it's not true. Probably you can't add to it, you can't take away from it. So
We just learned that in chapel today, actually.
Mhm.
We learned that the belt of truth,
yeah,
and
truth.
that the truth. And Miss McConnell asked, "What is truth? What is truth?"
Yep,
The Bible
right.
is truth.
Yep.
What God
And
says
And
is
so
true.
the interesting thing is, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even more than that, there's this idea of postmodern truth, which basically means you make your own truth. Well, the problem with that theory, that thinking,
Yeah.
is that if you make your own truth, then you make your own what right and wrong is. So there's no right and wrong. So I can say, well, I stole this because my family was really needy and I needed to take it, so I stole it.
Or-
Well, guess what? You're still doing something wrong. There's right and there's wrong. Even though it's kind of the theory of like Harry Potter, he does good, but he does things maybe that aren't all the way, the ends justifies the means, but those means sometimes aren't the right things to do, aren't a godly thing to do. And that's kind of snuck into our culture, is that, I just had to do that, even though it's the wrong thing to do, but it's still the wrong thing to do. There's right and wrong, and that comes from the Bible.
Okay, this is Dana and Paul signing out. Oh no.